Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Galarius Smite League. Today, it'll be me on chair one, Sir Ionicus, joined by Sir Vileblood over here. Uh,
Hey,
Vileblood,
how
yeah.
you doing? So we've got an interesting setup here today with Weiner, Brigade, and Kinkai's.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. From what I can tell, the Wiener Brigade has yet to win a game, whereas the Kinkais have looked pretty strong so far. But I mean, the Wiener Brigade have been looking strong going in their scrims, their last games, and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how they go up against Kinkais this game.
It's also interesting to note that Legosaurus is moving in from carry to jungle now, so there's a bit of a role swap within the team, so hopefully they'll be blending it together doing that.
Yes, that'll always be the hope. And so far, going into picks and bans, everything's kind of standard. Just my bad. Everything's kind of standard. You got Mercury, Kali, Chernobog on one side, Loki, Osiris. Wait, Loki. Wait, I'm like going through and seeing all these
Uh,
things, and I see. Wait, that's a weird one.
that's definitely a Lagger focused ban. Lagger's known for like playing Loki and competitive, so this is definitely a target ban for him, definitely to make him feel uncomfortable. And we'll see how that results in later. But yeah, the rest of the bans are pretty standard. Kepri, Chernobog, Kali, Merc, very standard bans really. Otherwise.
Definitely putting the research into this enemy team here. Even with the switch this game, I mean, they're already starting to ban out as Loki, a signature pick, as you said. Going in these bans, you got Jingwei. I don't think that's too typical, or atypical. But the Morgan and Shibalanki up high here. Shibalanki I've seen, but the Morgan's kind of interesting.
The Mori is definitely Rosie is definitely a Morgan player, and she's definitely very good at it. So I can definitely see a Cthulhu coming in afterwards with this, or just something like she can transform into. Because Rosie's a very good Morrigan. She does a lot of flanks. You never see her coming, and in my opinion, in lower division, she's probably the best Mori. So this is definitely an understandable pick. But whether going first, especially with the chance it could be counter pick now, we can see how it goes.
Will be definitely interesting, especially with the Cthulhu, as you stated. I remember in the Benadryl Babylonians games that they had. Wait.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
That was an interesting little. I don't know if that was a bug or if they were hovering it or something. I don't know, man. But
Uh,
Odin and Nox, that'll be
uh,
interesting.
that's so the Nox is probably support, surely. It could go mid, but Odin's probably solo with the Jingwei ADC. Quite quite a decent first free picks in my opinion, especially the Odin into the Morrigan who can't get out of it. Jablankoi also can't get out of it, so pretty confident into the two picks that they have currently.
Got that.
Kumbhakana.
I mean, it's something I know I've seen a lot against AD comps like Jingwei and Kali, Mercury. Though most of those are banned. I think the only exceptions being Bakasura and Nemesis, so maybe just trying to get ahead of the curve. That's what I can guess, but
I
it's a
mean,
good.
it does cancel out the Nox one, and other than that, pretty decent into Jingwei. I don't think it's that good into Odin because this is again another pick that can't get out of the Odin cage, so it's definitely gonna need a Phantom Shove to get out of it. And then Nemesis, set bans, pretty standard so far. Out of the picks so far, which comp are you favoring?
So far, I mean, you stated it already. Odin Cage is gonna be extremely easy to lock down this Shibalanki, this Morgan, the two carries, unable to escape that Odin Cage normally, and Kumbhakarna, another character who can't escape. So I'm just gonna start favoring the Wiener Brigade just because of their
Oh,
potential to lock things down. Oh, Lance.
Lancelot banned despite him already being banned. So I guess okay, questionable, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean, maybe they're thinking it's next week. It is Sunday, so maybe they're thinking that Sunday's meaning next week. But unfortunately, as you said, Lancelot is banned until this next upcoming week, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, and unfortunately they can't really go back on that now. So you could argue they have just wasted a ban, but hopefully, ooh, a Bologna hover, no Cthulhu. I mean, actually, that's understandable considering the Odin cage.
Yeah, Cthulhu's gonna get trapped in that cage just as easily as the rest of them. Bologna, I think, is a good pick. Also, keeps with their identity, I think, just because I know Bologna's an anti-AD god, Kumbhakarna is an anti-AD god, so I think they're just trying to keep this Bakasura off the table or any other sort of AD-based comps. At least
Hmm.
that's the thinking I am thinking through the Kinkais.
Honestly, I really like the Shu Huang pick. This is very safe into the Jablankoi, Kumbhakana, and Bologna because you can just free get away. and it combos really well with Nox and Odin. Like it's a very safe pick, and Yu Huang as a god overall is just honestly you can prefer him to pretty much any comp for the most part. And I'm surprised it was only like this late into the picks and ban phase that we actually get to see him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they did pick the Morrigan. As you said, Rosie's a premier Morrigan in this division, so definitely pick their mid laner high up. Maybe the Weiner Brigade just not seeing the need to really think of banning it or early on or picking it early on. But it's definitely a good pick, and Erlong Shen to follow up. I think that'll be really, really good setup.
Yeah, it's a very safe pick. I mean, oh, and the Nejar. We don't see much often of a Nejar anymore. He's quite rare.
Uh,
So, okay. Okay. And it's in, so it's probably Nejar jungle, surely.
I mean, if it's not Neja jungle, I don't know where else it would go. That ability to set up literally your entire team. I imagine that'll be probably Neja into Bologna ults maybe later on. I don't know. I just know best setup guy in the game. Well, one of the best in the game. So definitely getting interesting to see. Um, Now I'm going to turn the question back to you. Seeing these drafts now fully filled out, which team are you starting to favor here? I know I said the Wiener Brigade earlier just because their draft looks really, really strong, but what kind of team are you looking at?
Honestly, probably Weiner Brigade as well. I mean, I like the Nejar pick. I really like Nejar, but honestly, into this current meta, I don't think he's as valuable as other junglers. And then I like the Bologna pick as a complete fair pick, and then Kumkana fine. And then the issue I have with King Kai's Meryl is, first of all, I think Rosie's amazing Morgan, as I said. But on her team, there isn't that many crazy transformations she can really utilize, such as like an Artemis or a Cthulhu. Because yeah, she can set up with the Ninja and also, also turn to a second Bologna and terrorize the backline. But then again, she just gets to utilize the Odin Cage, so it's not that bad. But overall, I think I do favor the Wiener Brigade.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting and good look at the Wiener Brigade at being able to take out these Kinkais and maybe get their first win of the season as going into this set. Pretty strong in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, as well with the Jingwei ADC, it's just a very safe pick. Because if Shablanko gets behind, he's going to be struggling for the rest of the game, and Jingwei is very hard to get behind. I don't think it's going to be that much of an interesting duo lane with these two picks, but either way, they're both going to have impacts late game as long as they don't fall behind, which is quite good.
Very much so. I did just come up like think of this in my head, but you said something about the Morgan not having good transformations on her team, right? I agree with you completely. Neja maybe double Bologna as you said, but then there's an Odin on the other side, an Erlong Shen on the other side. How are you feeling about the Morgan maybe being able to take advantage of the Odin cage? Because I know Nox can't escape, Erlong Shen can't escape, Jingwei I don't think can escape. That's potential good lockdown in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's a very good like transformation for her, like because Yuan can, and then obviously, of course, another Odin can, but it can definitely lock up the Wiener Brigade. It's just the fact is, once Mori jumps in as Odin and the transformation happens, she's going to be quite squishy in the middle of the cage. So, because in my opinion, if she's transforming, jumping, putting the cage and running away, you still get value out of the cage, but then the rest of the kit isn't doing that much as something like a Cthulhu would do.
I do agree. I do agree. I just felt like it'd be a good talking point to just look at this team and maybe see that how the Kinkais can fight back against the Sweeney Brigade is. We are seeing Big Joe and Neja just sitting in the middle, chilling out, the two brothers. And am I looking at this correctly? Okay, no, that's Odin Bluestone. I saw him heading towards a speed buff. I was a little bit worried there for a moment.
Mm. I mean, a jungle Odin would have been interesting.
That much I can agree on. That much I can agree on. As game one between the Kinkais and the Wiener Brigade is starting here, and yeah, looks like just standard ways of starting. Kinkais have opted to go red and yellow. Maybe looking to get more farm on their jungler, and the other team looking to maybe put a little bit more pressure in mid.
One thing I would like to point out that's quite different is that Nox is going the mask star item instead, now that it's been reworked. I don't really know if it's that valuable at this point, because obviously Lonos was a key item in Nox support, but with doing that, you're losing the possibility of having benevolence, which I don't think is worth the trade-off late game, but we can see how it goes.
I mean, yeah, you lose out on benevolence and the later on compassion, which also has a really really good just team fight thing for Peel. Just take extra damage, but yeah, I think Lono's Mask is going to be a pretty good thing going into mage supports just because I think it's a Sentinels. gift just for mage supports us. Looking like both teams in dual lane are just clearing out the wave. Shibalanki, Kumakarna maybe having a little bit more pressure as they're getting a little aggro. Good silence from the Nox.
Does the mask provide gold per 5?
It provides gold just like the Sentinel's gift.
Okay, fair
So
enough then.
whenever you get assist, it's basically just Sentinel's gift, but for mage supports.
Because I've not really experimented with Protector's Mask. Yeah, there we go, thank you. Yeah, okay, yeah, no. I'm not too versed on the Mask Star Item because I just think the other Star Arms are better, but in this case with Mages, oh.
Looking like an engagement over in the right lane. Bellona might fall to the Erlong Shen and Odin and just barely manages to scrape out there. Expert gank by the Lygosaurus over here. Weiner Brigade already looking strong, trying to put pressure over in this dual lane, maybe get this Odin ahead.
I mean, this clearly shows that Lag is a lot more comfortable in his role because in ADC he played quite safe picks, but now in jungle he's already going for, you know, the cringe ganks, which is quite nice to see him more in his role that he's more comfortable in, and he's already going in.
Another gank. Lygosaurus not releasing the brakes here, almost gets that Neja, but a good ring toss and 2. I'm assuming 2. I don't know if he's got his 2 or 3, but good ring toss slows him down at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, everything seems typical so far. So far, First Blood has not been drawn, and Neja is currently 1 level ahead of Erlang, but with Erlang going in for the ganks, that does give Neja more time to, in fact, farm. And then... let's see... standard dual lane pressure, nothing really interesting going on in there. Like, so far I'm waiting for that First Blood, because I feel like that's going to be quite, indicating on what team's going to swing for pressure, but we'll see what happens.
I'll definitely agree that First Blood's going to be very, very important here. If the Weiner Brigade can get that First Blood, this is a very, very good comp early game, especially in my mind. So looking forward to, like, especially if this Erlong Shen gets it. That'll be huge. And Odin, even better.
Plus, it's worth knowing that Cheeto's foregoing his star item to rush into Warlock Staff, which is, I presume he's going to go into Conduit afterwards, surely. Or maybe, what's the name? Why is it escaping me now? Sands of Time, there you go. As I was saying, he's not going to go into a bumpers, why would he? I mean, he could. That'd be quite interesting. Oh.
As dual lane gets a little bit more aggressive over here. Kumakarna being able to get that good engagement onto this Jingwei, but unfortunately Jingwei just a little bit too safe. And yeah, I do agree with you that he should be going into starter after this Warlock staff. But I remember in the SBL cast today, though, that apparently some people are going Warlock staff into Book of Thoth even, just to get that double stacking and skipping the starter to maybe get that online a little faster.
I mean, with the TCK changes, it makes sense now that the game now that mid lanes have actually a chance to stack items. Because originally, before the TCK changes, the game was going at such a fast pace that stacking items wasn't really viable. So,
hold on just a moment. As the gank going into the solo lane, and Neja just barely misses the sash, and Rosie here to maybe get some extra damage, but Big Joe aware that more than meets the eye, and they're more there.
We're getting very close to a First Blood, but we're just not getting it.
Yeah, both teams playing really, really well with these ganks. In my mind.
Yeah, we get to that so close, but then it just gets taken away. Like, it's back and forth constantly.
Definitely. And it'll be kind of interesting how this is going to line up going into mid game here. And still, wait, I just realized Neja is a whole level up on this Erlong Shen. He's been level 5 for a while. Erlong Shen still there. Neja goes on the Yu Huang. Probably not much going to happen there. Yu Huang, as was stated earlier, really, really safe. Dual lane, more aggression. Kumakarna coming out, maybe trying to lock down this Nox, and the silence saves her life just for a second more. Last bit of mana.
Another First Blood that could have happened, but didn't. But it's also worth noting as well with the Erlang Shan, instead of going with the mannequins for the early pressure to, you know, get those early ganks and try and get kills, he's going for Eye, which I think if he went mannequins, he could have secured one of those First Bloods quite earlier.
Yeah, mannequins, that dot ability and extra basic attack damage, I agree, would probably have helped him a lot more. Maybe even get that kill on that Bellona. Actually, 100% gets that kill on that Bellona early in this game. Could be looking completely different from the Weiner Brigade. My only thing is...
Sorry?
Go ahead.
I mean, it makes sense as well. Eye is a very good late game star item because Protect of the Jungle is just amazing for front, like, all attack jungles when they can just walk up and, you know, have more protections than jungle. But we'll see how it goes, because I mean, even if he got the First Blood, he would have been ahead. But if he got behind, then both the mannequin star items towards the end game wouldn't have done as much as something that Protects the Jungle would have done.
Yeah, protectors, those protections definitely really, really helpful in the late game. So maybe the Weiner Brigade, though they have a really good early game draft, probably look into this late game, I imagine.
It's also worth noting that King Kai's also have a 1,000 gold lead already in 5 minutes in.
That's just from farm. These people, the Wiener Brigade, not really being able to see that farm as much as the Kinkais are, as Kumakana trying to solo the Yu Huang in mid. Not enough damage though, so not going to be happening as Nox is here to get the Shibalanke. If they go in on this, they can get the kill, but fortunately the Jingwei just not close enough
Both
to
teams are
confirm.
both teams are getting very close. It's just all these things, all the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah, just unfortunately. I mean, that Nox engagement probably would have been huge if the Jingwei was a little closer or just a few seconds later, but good on
Also,
both.
Yu Huang, second item, he's not going to a start item. I think he might be going to a Pythags or maybe a Soul Gem.
Mhm. I mean, I can see maybe you're going for early just builds, but hold on just a minute. Lagosaurus is forced to use the 9 turns blessing. Nox peels them out with the silence, but just gets them
Close
out
again.
in time.
Close again. Oh,
Oh, they're still engaging. Nejao comes out of Rosie. Yu Huang bringing the dueling dragons down. And kill almost gets on Rosie, but maybe the Lagosaurus has gotten a little bit too deep. Rosie coming back for the stun, and they first blood goes to the Kinkais here. And maybe
finally.
even looking for more, but
7 minutes in, we have our first one. Of course, it goes to Rosie. Now, that is going to hurt Laga quite a bit. Now that, because not only was Nijar ahead of him in farm, he's invading his jungles now.
yeah. Invading his jungle, and their team's
Oh,
looking for more. Rosie getting a little bit too close to this Yu Huang, not respecting that damage that comes out.
I mean, Yu Huang hits like a truck overall. I mean, his ult late game, that's going to be quite dangerous, especially in like the tight hallways in the jungle. I'm very interested to see how the Yu Huang goes, especially with the build that he's going in now, especially with how he's foregoing a star arm. He might even go the like Bumba's Hammer late game.
I mean, see, because if he does after Bumba's Hammer, I mean, like, with its recent changes, it doesn't affect his ultimate anymore, so maybe Yu Huang can get a little bit more value out of it than most other junglers, or mid laners, I should say. But it will be interesting to see what starter item he goes since he's waited this long to get it.
I mean, Erling now has his Golden Blade online, so he's going to be completely farming. Hopefully, he should be able to catch up with the Ninja quite simply, because with Ninja going into the Bumba's Dagger into Jones Wrath, that's quite a heavy ability-based build so far. And I know Morton said he was cooking up some stuff, and I'm wondering if this is one of those builds that he's concocted, but we'll see.
Odinel comes out in the solo lane, maybe looking to solo this Bellona, but that is a Death's Toll Bellona. Forces the ultimate out of her, though, so ult for ult in the solo lane, favoring the Wiener Brigade here.
And now, 8 minutes in, the gold lead is again stretched even further now. Like, now it's a 2k gold lead,
Yeah,
which is... They're making their way for Gold Fury? Someone ward it up, because... Will they be able to burn it? Don't think so. Surely not. No, they're not.
I was about to say is 9 minutes in, Fire Giant hasn't spawned, and they're looking at a Gold Fury. That thing hits harder than a Fire Giant, in my opinion, so it'd be a little bit risky. But Rosie looking to maybe catch someone off guard off in the right jungle, as the entirety except the ADC moving to the solo lane to maybe counter this gank to happen. Fortunately, nothing
Seems,
happens of it.
seems like both of the Wiener Brigade saw what was happening and decided to disengage, which was a smart play, to be fair. And it looks like they've been warned up for... Oh, they're trying it.
Oh my goodness. Ballsy play from the Wiener Brigade here, looking to get this Gold Fury nice and early, and that Lonos mask coming in handy as Albi's taking like no damage from this Gold Fury. The
King Kai's
Lonos
don't
mask,
even know.
I mean, how
Oh,
would they? Who's gonna have the guts to go at a Gold Fury pre 10 minutes?
you said it couldn't be done, unless they proved you wrong.
You know what? That's me not factoring in the damage mitigation of Lono's mask. So I'll take that. I'll take that L. But that was a really, really smart heads-up play from the Marina Brigade, in my opinion.
I mean, that play alone shown to me that they improved, because in the last sets they seemed quite uncoordinated, but that play alone, the fact they managed to sneak an entire Gold Fury away from King Kai's is quite impressive.
And Rosie, the King Kai is looking to invade here on Lagosaurus, but 3 strong from the Wiener Brigade. Looks to go and engage on here. Lagosaurus and Albi stepping up a little bit, but King Kai is a little bit smarter here, realizing the objective is gone. Disengages.
Yu
Yeah.
Huang got into his Soul Gem now, and now with Ninja going into his Hydra's Lament. Both two very different builds. I mean, they're two very different junglers who fulfill very different roles, but honestly, like, so far in this game, which team are you favoring?
Right now, as you've stated multiple times, the gold lead, like the King Kais just know how to farm this map a little bit better than the Weiner Brigade, but Weiner Brigade are making these heads up plays that are catching the King Kais. So if the King Kais don't have vision on anything, even with the farm lead that they're getting, I think they could end up losing it in the end just to a sneaky little Fire Giant or Pyromancer just sneaking right underneath them.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, this is quite a slow game so far. I mean, one kill between both teams. That's quite good to be fair. Like, and with Gold Fury in the hands of Winter Brigade, it's very.
Gold.
Oh,
Looks like Nox was coming in to engage here, maybe getting a little flank route, but misses the Shadow Lock, and the engagement dies there. As King Kai is over here at the Oracles, maybe looking to get active on this dual lane side, but only Kumbhakarna going over here, and Jingwei does get her back off.
I mean, I won't be surprised now if the Winter Brigade start looking for a Pyromancer.
Has spawned is I'll be looking to get aggressive on Rosie, but Lagosaurus not close enough, so she doesn't lock the CC down. And yeah, as you were stating, I mean, Pyromancer's on the table now. Winning Brigade could be looking at this like now, and would probably surprise the King Kais in my mind. As looks like a engagement was brewing in mid, and no, and it looked. I was looking at the map for a second. King Kais were making their way toward Pyro. I was like, no way that they do this to the Wiener Brigade here, but this goes for the Grave Scorpion.
I mean, so far both teams have been looking around the Pyromancer. They've but it makes sense at this point because now that Gold Fury has been taken, it's on the table that objectives are up for grabs. I mean, sure, they're not going to go for Fire Giant yet, but with the next Gold Fury being Oni Fury, I think that's going to be a big priority for both teams, especially with how big of an Oni Fury can swing a game, especially with the minions.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward to how that pans out then the Oni Fury, and whatever team gets that probably just pushes to get the free tower, maybe two, or they'll look to just push the lead. Either way, it'd be very, very interesting plays from these teams.
And then I suppose with the Kumbhakarna as well going Breastplate of Valor third item, which I don't really know if I agree with as a support item. I understand it gives you a lot of cooldown and the protections are nice, but honestly I think I just prefer Sov for what it provides you.
Yeah, I mean, Sav or Pridwin is. There's a bit of a scuffle here in mid lane. Neja ulting Lagosaurus up in the air, and they got Odin ult out of Rosie here, making sure to lock in Lagosaurus. They're in the cage. Albie stuck in the cage, but King Kai is respecting the Yu Huang's damage this time. Decided to back off with their one kill.
I mean, that was an amazing engagement, and then with Rosie just seeing the deal turn into the Odin, then just caging him up, there's nothing you could have done there.
I mean, Nine Turns Blessing can't heal much if you're in an Odin cage that says, nope, you healing? Nope, not happening. As they're looking in mid again, probably looking at this Yu Huang a little bit, but gets a ult. Oh, okay. I thought that was the ultimate for a second, but no, it was just the 3 coming out.
Yeah, it's worth noting with Yi Huang as well, that's third item, he's going into probably Mirrodin, surely, right? Has to be Mirrodin.
I mean, if it's Pridwin, I'll be a little bit sad as that'll be a huge fall off on damage. So probably Mirrodin, that new passive giving him a good deal of power whenever he ults. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, I mean, yeah, with that passive now, once he if he gets like good ult, hits his 2, hits his 1, that damage is incredible. Also note with Mori, she's gone into Doom Orb to provide the movement speed and then Spear the Magus. And then she's gone into a book which is most likely Polynomicon, surely.
I mean, Assassin Morrigan up on the table. The only thing I think is missing is a mannequins there, but I mean, Santa timed really, really good early as well.
Yeah. And then with both hunters going into crit as well, both solo builds seem a bit. I mean, the Bologna, I don't really know if I agree with the Glad Shield on Bologna that early, but hey, we'll see how it goes.
I mean, you get free protections from your passive, so maybe she's trying to leverage that. That is a bit early, though, as Yu Huang gets a little bit of damage poked out from Rosie. Lagosaurus blinking in, Aegis out of Rosie, and unfortunately, they just slightly off with the Phoenix Flame. Great shell out of the support on the Kinkais. Neja ulting Lagosaurus, stun out of Rosie. Beads are forced out of Lagosaurus. Kumba ult also there, and he's about to die. Rosie ulting into this Odin, maybe looking to lock him down with the cage. Unfortunately, just off the mark, just grabbing Albie. was just a bit tanky, too tanky for them to kill.
I mean, that was amazing peel from Kukumba, especially with the shell, and then also with Morton with the Neja grab. That almost brought Lagosaurus into an 0-3. That they could have killed Laga there, especially with how close Rosie was going to die as well.
It was a very, very close engagement as Albi's coming over here to maybe relieve some of this pressure onto the ADC. Plush Rush barely just misses out on getting the purple buff, but might get killed here. But unfortunately, Jingwei a little bit slower, and Plush Rush not exactly gonna die there to that thing. But Bologna here in mid looking to get this Yu Huang killed. Aegis down, barely gets out with his life.
That was very close. I mean, the fact that that was just very close. I mean, hold on, I'm trying to think what to say here.
Okay.
This is my first casting, by the way. So far in this game, the gold lead is still at 2k, despite, of course, Weiner Brigade getting the gold Fury. The 2k gold lead has still been prevalent, and now only Fury is up, and I hope to see both teams are probably going to start looking towards it now.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that as well. I mean, Wiener Brigade were looking at the Gold Fury at pre 10 minutes, and hopefully this time the King Kais are a little bit smarter. Make sure to have vision over there just so they don't get caught unawares again. But
I mean,
looks
they're
like
definitely looking for it.
immediately as it spawns, picked up by the Wiener Brigade. Only one over here is Plush Rush, as all 5 members of the Wiener Brigade are here for this. 3 members there. Dueling Dragons has been pulled out for the confirm, but just barely misses out and stolen by, I don't know if that was Kinkai's or Rosie, or Kinkai's Plush Rush or Rosie, but looking back on this counter engagement as the Kinkai's go in, ulting the Lagosaurus out into the air. Neja, no, Rosie gets that one. Rosie gets a second kill onto Albi, double kill for this mid laner. And another ultimate, I swear I just heard an ultimate as Rosie just ults into another character. Looks like the Neja? I can't even see properly.
Yeah, I think it's Neja. But, I mean, that was an amazing play by King Kai's. The fact that this time they actually did manage to sniff out the gold Fury and then steal it as well. And that's really unfortunate for Weiner Brigade because that gold lead is just even higher now. And it looks like they may be going for a Pyromancer after this as well.
I mean, they killed 3 members, and I would go immediately to Pyromancer myself. You steal Gold Fury, get the Pyromancer. This gold lead, that was 2k just from farming. It's gonna be quite a deadly one going into this mid game.
I mean, now with both of these comps, now that King Kai's are getting very much ahead, their comp is looking very strong right now. I mean, with the Weiner Brigade, their comp is still pretty good late game, but if King Kai's comp is ahead, it's very difficult to deal with.
Definitely looking forward to seeing how this Odin can bring some impact in these team fights as well, as we didn't really get a good showing of them in this last fight. I mean, all 5 members of Wiener Brigade were there, but not too much impact there from Odin, whereas the Bologna, I don't even know if Bologna was there, and if she was, it was at the tail end of the fight.
Yeah, now with Mori, instead of going to Polymorph, which we thought would be, it might be a 5th item now, but she's gone to Book of Thoth pretty late into the game, in my opinion, especially how now stacking, especially with team fights going on right now, objectives, she isn't really going to get stacked as fast as she really wanted to be.
Yeah. Hold on just a moment, as this looks like an engagement, but I do agree it is a bit of a late of a Book of Thoth. Just, I don't know how I feel about stacking this late in game, as looks like Wiener Brigade is trying to get a little aggressive on Rosie. Rosie trying to do something herself, but it's wise to step back a little bit as Odin shows up around the corner.
Yeah, and Kumbhakana going for Cloak of the Magi as well, which now it has 2 new glyphs this patch, with Magi of Vengeance and then Magi's Protection or something like that, which I presume he's going into the Protection one, the one where he gives his ally another Magi's.
Oh, hold on just a second. Is the Kin Kai is looking to engage on this Odin. Odin barely getting out with his ultimate. Neja ulting him under the tower. Plush Rush focusing down this tower as he's in the air. Immediately falls. The Odin does. Rosie ulted into the Odin there, maybe thinking he wasn't going to die so fast. So that is a huge ultimate down for the Kin Kais, but they got a kill.
I mean, now that King Kai's are like ahead, especially with taking my gold Fury, their macro play has been really good so far. Like their peel, their engagement, they've been really taking these smart picks. And honestly, and the rate this game is going, if Wiener Brigade can't find themselves like in a comeback, I think especially if King Kai's get Fire Giant, this is definitely looking like a King Kai's game 1.
Unfortunately, the strong early game of the Weiner Brigade just not translating well into this mid and now going into late game. And it's going to be really, really rough for him going into these fights just behind across the board. I think, where's the levels? I think, yeah, everywhere in the game, they're either even or behind. So be a little bit interesting how the Wiener Brigades look to fight in this next Fire Giant fight.
I mean, with the levels, it's only the support is behind, which isn't that bad. They're all equal in level, and now with the Bologna one level above Odin, but it's mainly the gold difference which is going to hurt them. Now, obviously, most of the Kinkai is going to be an item ahead now, which is going to give them a significant advantage in team fights. And with hold on a minute. Jingwei, this Jingwei, since the game's not really been going in her favor, with her safety, she's still going to get into a comfortable late game. And with Odin, his cage is going to be fine. Yu Huang, what's his full build? What I'm concerned about is the Nox, because as she's a mage, her base protections are quite low compared to her supports. I mean, it's going to be very easy for Kinko to just lock her down and kill her at this rate.
I do agree is we're going to get a little aggressive at the greatest score. Neja does sash in, and Kumakarna there. They could look for an engagement here as Odin jumps out. Yu Huang uses his 3. Yu Huang forced into his ultimate, maybe afraid of all the CC that can happen. Rosie coming around looking for that Yu Huang, gets the stun, gets his beats, ults into the Odin to trap him inside his own Odin's cage. As they're engaging on this Yu Huang falls to the Bologna. Neja ult out on the Lagosaurus in the backline. Lagosaurus forced the beats here. Barely gets out, maybe not, as Bologna gets the final hit on him.
So many Odin cages. I mean, King Kai's are really proving their dominance now. I mean, surely after this fight... Oh, wait.
Oh, Big Joe jumped in, only gets sashed by Neja, forced the beats there. Rest of the team there, I think they're going to lose this tower here. Plush Rush just able to hit this tower freely, and rest of the King Kais are going to back up. They got their objective and got 3 kills. They can do what they want, or 2 kills.
They must be making their way to Gold Fury now, and I believe it's just regular Gold Fury, so not as good as Prime or Oni, but still an extra Gold Fury. I'm surprised, honestly, that during that team fight, I would have backed off the mid and possibly went for a Fire Giant, especially with Yu Huang and Lagosaurus being down, Erling. That gives them a lot of leeway into securing the Fire Giant.
I do agree. Fire Giant probably would have been a smart call. They did almost get the kill on the Big Joe there, so maybe it's worth. But that also does release the pressure in mid with the no T2. There's no towers there anymore to run to, so looking forward to how the King Kais abuse that, and maybe how the Wiener Brigade plays around that going in these FG fights, knowing that one avenue of safety is gone.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the safe play was the tower and the gold field, which is an excellent play, don't get me wrong, but I would have liked the riskier Fire Giant, but that's just me. But it's quite clear now that teams are going to be looking at Fire Giant, and if they manage to secure this Fire Giant, this is definitely going to swing into their game quite heavily, because they'll probably take both the right towers and then take the Phoenix. But we'll see how those fights go out.
See how those go. As looks like King Kai's and Wiener Brigade fighting, posting up around this Fire Giant. Unfortunately, a little bit spread out as Big Joe's caught on his own, dealing with Plush Rush and the Neja here in the back. Dueling Dragons looks to have been forced. Rosie going forward in this Odin transformation, taking a little bit more damage than she would like. Barely gets out with 1 health, but in the backline, Big Joe did die, so the remainder of the King Kai's coming back to this fight. Belts of Frenzy popped by Albie. Albie, though, will fall. Lagosaurus soon to follow. 3 down for the King Kais, or 3 down for the Wiener Brigade in favor of the King Kais.
I mean, I don't really know why Morton was that close. I presume that he was trying to ward, but he just got caught out immediately. I mean, Odin caged and just... Oh, wait, hold on. Take damage?
Oh, unfortunate for
Fortunate.
King Kais. Gets the trade back kills. Bologna got caught being a little bit greedy, trying to clear that ward.
Yeah, I mean, a bit too greedy, I guess, but still in favor for them. Because at this rate now, with Big Joe and Albie Schultz going to come up soon, the Fire Giant isn't going to be as easy. Ooh.
And Relic's just forced out of this Jingwei by just Kumbhakarna, and they're going to run down this Yu Huang. No avenue of safety, forced to use both Relics. A little bit of Oasis. He's just going to fall here in just a second.
Ooh. I mean, that's going to definitely hurt Wiener Brigade in their contest potential now, because Yu Huang is very important to this comp. Because now, I mean, Nox isn't going to do that much damage. Jingwei is, but this Erling's now behind to the point where they really don't have to worry about him. So now, at this point, they really have to play defense, and King Kais are probably going to go for Fire Giant as soon as Bologna's up, because at this point, Weiner Brigade can do so little to contest them, but I definitely do think if Weiner Brigade played the cards right, they could definitely possibly snatch it from them. Oh,
Oh, is Rosie getting caught on mid, transforms into the Neja, maybe to look and get a bit of safety, but Rosie, Neja ults out, but fortunately, the passive from Erlong Shen catching up to her, as she tries to run away.
I mean, not only did she die, but she used a roll as well, which is definitely going to hurt when she respawns, because not having that Moriel transformation in a team fight is quite an impact.
That's quite an impact. Hinkai's maybe throwing a little bit here. One by one, walking into the entirety of the Wiener Brigade here. Wiener Brigade being very smart to get these picks as Hinkai's looking to maybe sniff out, get these guys off the FG here as Bologna frontlining here.
I mean,
And
now with Rosie not on the map, they don't have to worry about an Odin cage. They can definitely play more aggressive here, which they definitely seem to be doing, and King Kai seems to have underestimated them a bit because they're doing quite well so far.
yeah, Hinkai's looking to get engaged, but engagement out onto the Wiener Brigade, but Wiener Brigade's smart. Odin cages them in, forces the Phantom Shell as Big Joe being chased down by a low health Kumbhakarna and Bologna. Looks to turn it around though. 4v4 here. 4v5 here as Kumbhakarna forced into his passive, killed in his passive, and the rest of the members of the Kinkai is forced to retreat here.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to go for Fire Giant now. Oh, wait, no. They seem to be giving up. I mean, they need to defend the left lane because there's a massive minion wave and a Trebuchet pushing it right now. I mean, they're going to stay a bit just so that, oh, Rosie coming in.
Morgan looking to get an ultimate and it ults into the Odin, forces the ult out of Erlang Shen, kills the Erlang Shen! Like, literally just walks up to Erlang Shen, stuns him, and decides, you know what, this is a good ult. As they kill Yu Hong behind that, Big Joe blinks past to get plush rush. This is a crazy fight. Like, these two teams are just brawling out now as the Silence is able to kill plush rush here, but Bologna able to get the turn back kill onto this Jingwei. 3 versus 2 in favor of the Kinkais here. Neja and Morgan looking to fight this Odin. Just barely isn't able to get away though.
I mean, Rosie's been playing this fight amazingly. The fact she managed to sneak up on Erlang, turns onto Odin, lock him down, then kill him, and the fact that she was in a very bad position in that fight, behind the Odin cage, knocked up, and like she was like knocked one as well. She walked away in that fight full health, and it looks like they're gonna go for Fire Giant.
4 down on the side of the Wiener Brigade here. Kinkai's should have a free Fire Giant here. Nox, the only one standing, and decides to go over to defend this Trebuchet. Unfortunately, Erlang Shen just spawning isn't going to make it in time.
I mean, now the towers are going to be free game at this point because there's two massive waves going down left and right, and especially with the mid pressure, like it's quite simple for Kinkais to go for any structure they want at this point. So I now think I need Wiener Brigade to play on the defense, and Wiener Brigade aren't out of this game yet. They've proven that they can play team fights quite well. They just need to all group up, defend their structures, and I think they could make a comeback. But right now, Kinkais are really pressuring them in this game.
Unfortunately, is we were stating it in the P's and B's, or rather, you were stating it that Rosie looking very, very strong in this Morgan through the season, and she is not disappointing in this game. Probably being the chief engagement on most of these engagements, with Neja and Kumba being like the only other two ones I've seen truly making great starts in these fights. As looks like the Kinkais are going to group up for this Gold Fury over here. I'll be the only one able to sniff them out with 2 members all the way in right lane.
I mean, hopefully they'll be able to group up and contest it, but Kinkais can probably melt this go for you very fast, and which they're clearly doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, Noxalt trying to steal it, but fortunately,
Bit too early.
it's a Lono's mask Nox. She is not going to do as much damage as just a normal support Nox to that Gold Fury is. King Kai's
Oh,
looking to rush down left.
I was right. Yu Huang has gone Bumper's Hammer, and it's 5th item.
Interesting choice. Definitely not my first choice when it comes to Bumbus Hammer, but does look like Bologna is starting to zone out 3 members of the Wiener Brigade here. In fact, just forcing them back under their Phoenix. Albie looking like she's trying to back as 5 members of the Kinkais are rushing down this left Phoenix, aware that both Erlang Shen and Odin were forced to back there and unable to get any value in those other lanes, and looking for a middle Phoenix as well.
I mean, I don't think Odin and Ellen should have been pushing with towers, especially when they know Kinkais have FG. They're going to make a play for a Phoenix, and it's And unfortunately, they lost it now because
Oh,
oh,
yeah, they did lose it, but on the re-engage, Big Joe does come back in. They get the pick onto this Neja. Huge pick as the setup. Erlong Shen does uses the 9-turn blessings to get Kumbhakarna in here. But Kumbhakarna has a great mez to keep off the members of the Weiner Brigade and slow down their re-engagement here as they're still looking. As Odin does get the stun onto this Bologna, but it is a Bologna, so not going to fall too easily to the members of the Weiner Brigade here.
yeah, I mean, Morton no longer has FG, which is quite considerable for him because Ninja's burst damage is only Empire. Ooh.
Oh, looking for another engagement. Rosie gets a stun on Yuhong, forces the beats, forces the 3, forces him back. Big Joe in there, trying to zone them off and maybe get something done in this fight. Bologna frontline here, though, looking to get a little bit more aggressive, and the team of King Kai's, great engagement from that Bologna. Bologna stunned into Mori 1 for a perfect combo, doesn't get any kills, but they do get a lot of damage as Lagosaurus is stuck behind his team, unable to get out, and this might be curtains for him. Is curtains for him.
That was a really good Yuhuango. That saved nearly the entire team.
I'm just surprised. This is such a back and forth game. It's such a brawl. And though the kills are favoring the Weiner Brigade, they are doing a really, really good job. As you just said, Yu Hongul being able to peel out the entirety of the team there. As
I mean, Winner Brigade are definitely fighting an uphill battle at this rate because King Kai's are currently walking with a 14k gold lead. That is very difficult to fight, and FG is going to be up very soon. So I think if Winner Brigade want to bring this back, they're going to want to hopefully defend the rest of their structures, which it looks like they're going to be able to do, and hopefully maybe get the FG and turn it around. But King Kai's are proving this has to be very easier said than done.
very much easier said than done. As interestingly enough, Weiner Brigade is leaving their Nox to defend their Titan.
Not the first person I'd choose.
No, definitely not the first for me either. I mean, that's Lono's Mask Nox. She's doing less damage than a normal Guardian would do. As the rest of the team seems to be posting up. Jing Wei instead deciding to defend that left lane.
I mean, now with Odin and Erlang around, taking the Scorpion and they're sniffing around the FG pit because they know for a fact that King Kai's are going to be warding around there just as they are. But they need to be careful in the jungle because if Rosie she manages to catch them off guard, it can very much end their life.
Rosie has been having a star performance on this Morrigan, able to get the Suns as Neja blinks and ults into this Yu Huang, looking to engage on him. Fortunately, he's just taunted away before he can do anything else. Rosie, a little bit far ahead here, does get a kill, but she might trade her life instead. Ults into the Odin, gets the shield up, gets the ult up. Her value easily just incomparable as they do get another pick on Lagosaurus as Rosie falls. Bologna and Plush Rush able to just run down this enemy team here as Jingwei also here almost gets Plush Rush, forces his Aegis out, but fortunately Albi's just not going to be able to make it here. Falls to the Bologna.
When she looked so easy to kill, Rosie just goes into Odin, shields, and places an Odin cage to enforce the fight. That was really good, but it's very important to point out Morton's engage there was amazing with the Blink ultimate, and his Nijar overall has been setting up his team for extremely good kills. Both Morton and Rosie have definitely been stars in this game, in my opinion, and it looks like they might be looking to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, they placed a ward down for Bologna to TP, and they'll be 4v1 strong here. Jingwei does dash in, but gets Neja ulted out, and gonna fall here. To Bologna ult, Neja ult barely gets her ultimate off into the Phoenix, as Kumba passive was procced, but unfortunately, that's game. King Kai's being able to take this in a very convincing game one.
I mean, Wiener Brigade definitely had quite an interesting early game, but King Kai's just took the lead and run away with it. But in my opinion, so much little could have been done against Rosie and Morton because those two were just setting up fights there and then everything. And then with Yi on Denene being support, his peel was actually really good that game, especially with going into his Magi's that managed to just peel for his team as well. And if you were the Winner Brigade, what would you be thinking right now? What would you try and do better?
For one, I definitely think you don't let Rosie get this Morrigan game too. Like, she was legitimately, as you said, her and Morton were the star players. Neja is a little bit more dealable with his immobility, but the Rosie being able to just go invis and just 1-2 someone in they're dead in an instant. This was a great thing. The only other thing I could see is maybe be a little bit more active, like play for that early game so you can get this lead and look for the farm. But both teams looking strong. Wiener Brigade, they had a chance. They looked strong, but unfortunately, just didn't execute it properly in my mind.
I mean, I don't think the Erling was necessarily bad. I mean, it was very close to getting first blood. I think if he had the mannequins, he could have
Mhm.
solidified it a bit early and given him a bit of a lead. But unfortunately, he lost his lead, and then once Erlang loses lead, you know what Erlang becomes. And then I don't think the Jingwei is a bad pick. He didn't do that too bad on the Jingwei.
He didn't.
Then the Odin ended up being more dangerous to their comp, if anything, because it locks them up with Rosie Ultimate. I think the Nox could definitely be brought back. I think the Nox actually played pretty well there, and same with the Yu Huang. And then, in my opinion, if I was the King Kais, I'd maybe look to. Hmm. I don't know, there's a lot both teams can do here. If I was King Kais, I'd definitely look at getting rid of the Nox because they can, like, with the science field, it makes their job a lot easier.
That it did. That it did. That it did. It was legitimately some of the reasons why these first bloods didn't happen was legitimately this Nox just putting down a 2 field and the entirety of King Kai's was unable to engage. But great game one out of both teams. Looking forward to how they're gonna just change up these picks and bans, maybe how they play in this game too. As we're gonna go into a quick break, real quick. We'll see you in game two.
Hit us with, now I'm drowning, suffocating in the pussy, you're no cat. Ain't no time to be frowning, cause if you be looking up, no way I'm ever gonna snap, yeah. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is present, the future is right here, yeah. Move back, slick guy, coming through the instant, you have it all. People start looking, come back later, try again, cause you ain't getting in my life, no way. Got the world in my hands and I ain't gonna fuck it up. Keep them safe is the key to success here, see it, yeah. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is present, the future is right there. I might be going on a tangent here, but stay with me. We in the highland, living the life we never thought we'd have, yeah. Fuck what I'm feeling, but there still do be a missing piece. Wonder what it is, keeps me up at night, what a nightmare. Yeah, my sleep paralysis, demon sitting there, waiting for me. Don't wanna deal with his crap, so I'm out of here. Throw it in reverse, speakers blowing loud. Keep me away from my bed, cause I ain't turning in now. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is past and the future is right there. I'll see you in the future, cause you already know. I'll be waiting for you till time ends in slow-mo.
Oh yeah, I roll up to the party with the handle of Bacardi, and I pass it off to all of my friends. Oh yeah, she rolls up to the party in a dress that shows her body, and she's hanging out with all of her friends. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, she wants to play it like that. Look her in the eyes and she's looking right back. Feel the heat rise with the right contact. She's playing with her hair, so I know she likes that. Yeah, I can feel the beat now. All I wanna do is get her out of the crowd, and on the dance floor with the bass so loud, making my move through the room right now. She used to dance, but then she never danced again. Something in her is dead, but now she has a chance again. So dance, baby, dance again. Take my hand, baby, dance again. It's your chance, baby, dance again. Let's just dance, baby, dance again. Yeah, so we hit the dance floor, body on mine, want a little bit more. Shawty, you fine, build a little rapport, and we lose track of time, we don't care anymore. Yeah, feel the beat right now, dance all alone in the middle of a crowd, drinking alcohol like we in another drought, like LMFAO, taking shots right now. Shots, she's so hot, and then I got caught looking at her hot bod. I just wanna hop on, dance till the night's gone. Can't stop us, no, we don't take it slow, we put on a show, she gets real low, drinks start to flow, we keep in the zone, we won't leave alone, we don't sleep at all. To dance, but then she never danced again. Something in her is dead, but now she has a chance again. So dance, baby, dance again. Take my hand, baby, dance again. It's your chance, baby, dance again. Let's just dance, baby, dance again.
Welcome. Welcome back, everyone, to Glorious Smite League Game 2 between the Kinkais and the Weiner Brigade. Game 1 was a very, very convincing win on the side of the Kinkais. Weiner Brigade had some strengths, but unfortunately, the Kinkais just a bit stronger of a draft and a bit stronger of a unit going into these fights. Going into these picks and bans, I know we talked a little bit about it, but are there any other things you want to see I know I talked about it, but I didn't ask you. Anything you want to see the Weiner Brigade change up going into this picks and
I
bans?
mean, I think the Erlang, whilst pretty good in concept, with especially how aggressive Lager played. I think if you built mannequins, you could have secured a bit more. But if they're not going to go for that aggression, then I think that you need to play a bit more of a safer jungler. But if they want to go aggressive, then definitely go something with like mannequins. And then, as you can see, Weiner Brigade have in fact banned the Mori.
Yeah, I mean, the Rosie was probably the strongest performer on side of the Kinkais in that first game, with Morton being very close behind and the support just after that. But you can't let Rosie get Morrigan. Like, I've seen this happen in another set against the Babylonians. Mori just runs the games for the Kinkais here in this set. So smart on the Weiner Brigade to ban it. Everything else looking pretty typical. The Loki coming out from last game, as well as Kinkais locking in Chernobog for Plush Rush.
So they took away Rosie's Mori, but they gave Plush Rush's Cherno. I don't think that's quite a trait. And especially with Rosie as well, is that she isn't just a one-trick pony. She has a very good Lefay and she has a pretty good Tiamat as well. So if she gets both of those, like one of those with Plush Rush's Chernobog, that is a dangerous backline. Ooh. And it looks like Weiner Brigade are bringing back the Huang, which, pretty well played. But a Yamoja. That's quite interesting. Because
seems. No, go ahead.
no, you carry on. I was gonna.
To me, it seems like their identity is they want to lock down their opponents within a physical wall. Just because like last game is the Odin, this game is the Emoja. And this time they don't have to worry about a Morrigan, so they can just pick these walling comps if they choose to go that route.
The only potential issue I have with Yamoja is that in lower division there are very few supports that have Yamoja. I don't think has ever shown a Yamoja before, so it's gonna be the first time. And as we know of Yamoja, if that team has Yamoja, ban it. But if they can't play it properly, then because she's quite a difficult card to play, and if Albi can perform quite well on this, then add Weiner Brigade to a list of what teams need to ban Yamoja. But if he plays it well, there's a very strong first pick for Weiner Brigade with Yuhong and Yamoja. Ooh.
This is the Jormungandr hover. I
Ooh.
I love the World Serpent. They're gonna lock it in. I'm excited now.
Let's go.
Jormungandr, a very, very rare sight to see nowadays in Comp Smite, just because he's kind of fell off of the meta a while after getting some nerfs. He's gotten some buffs since then to make him a little bit better. But I mean, I'm gonna enjoy seeing Jormungandr. It's a very fun thing to watch.
I mean, Yomanganda is a very interesting god. I mean, he was primarily played because he could go into King Arthur on his release, because that's the minute King Arthur's release was absolutely nuts. And the Achilles is quite a good pick into this because both Sylvanas and Jormungandr are quite immobile, except for, when Jormungandr does his ult, but those are quite big execution targets.
Very large execution targets, and not to mention, if that Jormungandr is like getting like a low threshold range, trying to get out, he's gonna generally ult, right? So Achilles ult just stops him. It's quicker than Jormungandr can get in the ground. So great pickup from the Weiner Brigade. Just keeping that in mind, the ability to shut down this Jormungandr early.
I mean, even if Jormungandr ults to escape, that team loses a lot of pressure because Jormungandr used on the offensive is incredibly hard to deal with, especially being a backliner. So if they can force it out, oh, Cupid, hello. That is a really good pick. Like, that locks down Sylvanas and Jormungandr quite a bit. Not so much the Chernobog, I mean, it does cripple him so you can't get away, but I really hope the support buys a winged boots into this comp.
Yeah, and Cupid a very, very good pick into this Chernobog in my mind, just because Chernobog's biggest safety is his dash, being able to get out of his things. So it'll be interesting to see how Chernobog goes in here as Gilgamesh Uller. That's gonna be a very, very aggressive mid lane. I see Sylv, I see Uller, I see Gilg. Obviously, Cupid ult good into all three of those picks, including the Chernobog. Jormungandr can just ult out, so it's not that big of a deal. But that is a kill lane in mid, and this Yu Huang is gonna have to be very, very careful on the side of the Weiner Brigades that the Kinkais don't just snuff them out immediately as the game starts.
Hear me out. This is probably not going to be it, but hear me out. What if it's Jormungandr mid and Nulla solo?
If it goes that way, right. As a solo player, I'll be sad as these ADCs have been coming into solo lane. It is definitely an option for them, especially if Rosie's a lot more comfortable on Jormungandr and playing like an assassin-y playstyle in the mid lane. I'm not gunning for it. I think Uller's better in mid and Jormungandr better solo, but you know what? It'll be very, very interesting to see how the Kinkais plan on playing this out, as Kalina being hovered over here on the side of the Weiner Brigade for jungle.
Very safe pick. I mean, that's that's flex potential for both solo because Achilles pretty good in solo and so is Kleedner, so these two can go either way. If I had to pick, I think I'd rather have Kleedner in solo because Achilles' chase potential in jungle is actually quite insane. And then with the Kinkais, I don't think I've ever seen Rosie on Uller or Yorm, so I've been quite interested in see that. And then of course with the Gilgamesh jungle, that's quite a good pick because his team fight potential is quite well. But Cupid locks down that entire team.
He does. So looking forward to seeing what the ADC on the side of the Weiner Brigade can do in this next fight or next game, and maybe seeing a little bit more active rotations. As I remember last game, Jingwei wasn't really much in the rotations, but if we see some early rotations out of Cupid, I think that'll be a very, very, very good luck from the Weiner Brigade, in my opinion.
I mean, the Weiner Brigade have gone an all-out team fight comp, like Achilles, Yamoja, Cupid, Yu Huang, and even Kleedner. That's big area damage. That is a very difficult team to just walk in on. And Sylvanas and Yorm as a initiating fights isn't the craziest, but we'll see how it goes in game 2.
And this game 2 is starting and underway. Morton looking to
Oh,
be in mid lane. Wait, is that
it's
it's
a Jormungandr mid, baby. Let's go.
your mid Uller jungle Gilgamesh solo? So you were right, half right. I'm a little scared. Gilgamesh is a little bit better than Uller in the jungle, in my opinion, or Uller in the solo lane. But I'm curious to see how Kim Kai's plan on playing this. They got a Jormungandr mid. This will be
Probably the
interesting
most.
to see.
This is probably the most based pick in GSL history. I love this pick. I love Jormungandr. If Rosie pops off, she gets Player of the Year for me. Honestly.
I mean, this Jormungandr, right? So I'm gonna see here. Jormungandr is gonna play a lot like the Morrigan, in my opinion, except not being able to ult in the random targets. She's going to stealth around, knock someone up, two of them, and then they should just die, in my opinion. So, uh, if Rosie plays like she did on the Morrigan, I think this Yorm pick will be really, really good. But
I mean, she definitely seems to have a playstyle with her invisible gods and picking people off, and with the comp that she has aiding her, it's definitely possible. But with with the Sylvanas, I don't know if I agree with Sentinels because personally I think Benevolence is a bit better on Sylvanas, but we'll see how that goes. And then Cleedna, it is Cleedna solo. What do you think of that?
Clean solo, just a standard pick. She's generally where she is best. I do agree that she is a bit better in the solo lane than, say, in the jungle or an Achilles in the solo lane. So it's just a pretty standard matchup. Little like lackluster as a little aggressive over here into a dual lane on Plush Rush does get under the tower, so not much will happen of it. But yeah, I mean, clean the solo. It's just the high damage hyper carry out of the solo lane, not too different than most of the damagey solo laners, but it'd be interesting to see how they play it, especially with this Achilles in the jungle.
Yeah, with the Gilgamesh shuttle, right?
I mean, this Gilgamesh might just die, but barely gets out of his life. It's just mirror of game 1 as early gank on the solo side by Lagosaurus, but just barely getting out.
Come on, lag, just get it. I know you can. But with this Gilga. Oh wait, hold on.
There's a gank over in solo or dual lane to mirror the one over in solo lane as Oler comes over here, does get the axe on Albi, not the ADC, so not able to do a whole lot there.
Yeah, so with this Gilgamesh, I don't really like Bluestone on Gilgamesh. I think maybe that Soul's better, but then again, I think I'd just rather not put Gilgamesh in solo. But an interesting note that he's gone Bluestone. He can go the Redstone to slow down attack speed, which, if you're an ADC and you have a pretty much full tank Gilgamesh jumping at you with Redstone, good luck trying to fight that.
I mean, Redstone not the greatest, but very good into these ADCs. Should be especially useful into, say, this Cupid and Achilles, who seems to be going an AD build here. As there is a gank over in this dual lane, and Sylvanas will be the first blood here if they can get it. They do, in fact, get it. And Weiner Brigade already looking like a different team. Maybe this Achilles being a little bit better than their Long Shen, in my opinion.
I mean, that's just good lockdown, especially into Sylvanas, because once Sylvanas gets locked down, that man not getting away, and they seem to be definitely abusing that.
100%. I mean, you got the chase down that you talked about before from Achilles and Sylvanas' immobility. So Sylvanas probably going to be looked at in these first few team fights for early leads. Yu Huang trying to defend the back camps, but fortunately, not really going to do much there. I mean, Jormungandr and Uller, you step up even 5 feet forward, you're a dead man.
Yeah, speaking of the Yu Huang, he's going the same route of the build again. I'd be very curious to see if he goes the same build, but at this rate, I think I'd just rather see a Conduit or a Sands of Time just really play a bit safer. Because both of those arms are very viable on Yu Huang, but hey, if he wants to go that Bumbas, he can go that Bumbas.
Yeah, I mean, my only problem is if you're going with going Bumbas is Bumbas doesn't give you that extra damage, and how often are you proccing that on Yu Huang? Are you going through all your ability? You're going through your 2 Thou Cultivation into the Phoenix Fire right after each other. I don't know how often you're resetting, but he seems to like it. So, and it didn't work too horribly for him last game. Just a little bit weaker than I think a Yu Huang would normally be.
Plus with this Achilles, even if say if this happens again with the Achilles as it did with the Erlang, where he has the early pressure and then loses it on later in the game, Achilles definitely provides more than an election in a team fight. But I'm really hoping Lager does manage to get his early pressure and does snowball into a bit later. And I hope he's leveling his 3 because that chase potential and the damage on that 3 is ridiculous. And I think that very suits Lager's playstyle.
Yeah, I mean, even in Soul and the combat dodge being the favorite ability to level on Achilles, so we'll be looking forward to seeing if he makes use of that leveling of his abilities and is able to lock down and kill these people with just the combat dodge even. As 3v3s starting here in mid, both teams having people here. Sylvanas a little bit on his own over here in the left side, but his team quick to rotate. And Yamoja ult is coming out. They're looking to engage. Sylvanas 3 has been activated as Jormungandr is pushed into his ult by the Yu Huang Dueling Dragons. And
Good lockdown.
Sylvanas close to death, but Rosie still full health, looking to re-engage on this. Fortunately, does get stunned out of her 2 before he can activate. Plush Rush is ulting in, is going to pick up Albi over here. But no, Morton gets it instead as Chernobog was just stunned. That great fight from the Kinkais there.
Yeah, Albi played pretty well there actually, especially when you walled off the Sylvanas and locked him down. But unfortunately, no one could have really followed up to kill Sylvanas. And to his dismay, Plush Rush on his Chernobog, as per, comes in, takes a kill, walks off, which is not. It's quite painful, but I mean, it's not gonna snowball the entire game so far. But it is important to note that Weiner Brigade are actually the one with the 1k gold lead this time.
I mean, they are learning from their mistakes in the last game, making sure to get this neutral farm. I mean, even Cupid having a lot more pressure over this Chernobog, who, when he rotated, lost out on like a half level lead I'm seeing here. Could be wrong, but I mean, he just leveled up to 5. Brex is over here, having been 6 for a little while.
Ooh, Albi.
And I'll be looking over here, but unfortunately doesn't have the ultimate, so I don't know how much useful this emoji is going to be over here. As she's looking for a pick, but
good
does
ring.
gets a great Riptide, forces Plush Rush's beads, and forces him into the wall.
I mean, first of all, that was a really good Riptide. That was a very good Riptide, but I don't really know why he came up to him, especially without his ult. Because if you managed to lock him in there, especially knowing that Plush Rush ult's down,
No, Sylvanas, you might be a little bit too far up here, buddy. Chernobog rooting them just in there, but look at Rosie looking to come back on this back engage if they choose to re-engage on this fight. Unfortunately, doesn't look like they want to re-engage on this fight. Rosie going back to the mid lane.
This Sylvanas keeps getting locked down. It's very dangerous for him. But I think in the late game, he provides quite a bit. I mean, his team fight once Kinkais start diving onto them, the knockup is quite good. And then, of course, Sylvanas' sustain for his entire team isn't as crazy as Yamoja's, but still team sustain that can keep up with it, which is quite useful, especially against Yamoja, who can just poke your entire team and then heal him as well, which is quite annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Sylvanas goes into these team fights. I mean, it's going to be a lot tankier later on. There'll be a lot more damage going his way, but he will be a lot tankier, so it'll be interesting to see how the Weiner Brigade tries to engage on him, as there's an engagement over here in mid. I'll be pushed in by the Sylvanas 3, but unfortunately Ullr just missed the axe, and it's gonna be the end of that.
Yeah, I'd like to point out this Gilgamesh build, also going into the Glad Shield Tech 9, which again I don't really agree with, but But what interested me most is that tier 1 item, I think it's Short Sword, which is quite an odd item choice, meaning he's either going into something like maybe like an RC, a kin size, maybe an Executioner.
I mean, if nothing else, that's probably just his pickup item from the guild quest. Probably went and picked up his guild quest item there. So
I forget about Gilgamesh passive, man. Anyway.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be useful for him in my opinion, just getting that free attack speed and damage. As looks like Gilgamesh is trying to get aggressive on the Cleo. Unfortunately, Achilles is right here, might be able to catch him out. Great drop kick from the Gilgamesh here, cleaning just healing like half of her missing health there, just in a single swipe of her 3.
Standard cleaner things with Solia. I mean, her ult with Solia just provides so much safety in lane. It's ridiculous, and honestly, I think this Gilga could have killed him. But Cleaner's sustain in lane is ridiculous, unfortunately.
Yep, now full health over there is looking like Rosie might want to engage. Nope, doesn't look to engage. Great double stun from Albi, as Rosie was looking for a stun, but unfortunately, like as she was bailing out, got stunned, and could have been a great engagement on the other side, but fortunately, nothing happened of it.
Yeah, and so far the levels are more or less the same, with some people one level ahead of each other, but I don't think it's by too much. And with the Weiner Brigade's gold lead is stretching quite a bit. It's getting bigger, which is I think King Kai's definitely gonna. Oh, wait. I think King Kai's definitely can bring back the gold lead. We'll just have to see how this plays.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, matching is just a matter of like the Kinkais have drafted this kind of strange comp. I mean, it's Jormungandr mid. I mean, that alone is strange enough as it is, but I mean, they also have an older jungle. Sylva's kind of slow. Gilgamesh is getting just out pressured, crazy by this Kleedna. So I mean, the farm is not going the way of the Kinkais as much as they would like, and it's good to see that the Wiener Brigade is out farming them. Gil,
Ooh,
you're tempting fate, my guy. Let's see, chooses the back. Uller.
Cupid pressure at the Chernobog as well on the left lane.
He
Oh,
just soloed him. I'm assuming, I'm looking. Yeah, Cupid confirming the kill on the Chernobog with the heart bombs of the Fields of Love. There we go. Probably used heart bomb too.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Cupid pressure that was said in P's and B's. I mean, he locks down this Chernobog. Chernobog is going to be forced to ult, but where's he going to ult to? He's going to ult onto another member of the team. You don't want to ult on Laggy. Laggy's going to chase you down. You don't want to ult onto Big Joe. Big Joe will solo you. And you definitely, like, the only person would be Albie, but Albie's probably just sticking around Cheeto here this entire time, so he's going to be forced to come back down into the Fields of Love again. So,
Yeah,
great kill by the Cupid.
it's also worth knowing as well. No Gold Fury picks yet. No early Gold Furies in the Brigade, but I mean, it seems like definitely something might come out with the Pyromancer, because I mean, it makes sense to go for. But I think if Wiener Brigade definitely keep pushing their luck and maybe hopefully get another pick, an early Pyromancer or Gold Fury is definitely on the table with this team, especially with how they played the objectives in the early game last game.
As there seems to be an engagement over here in mid. Wiener Brigade trying to engage on the Sylvanas. Keelys does miss his stun though, so fortunately not able to do too much out of it, but they're still looking for more. Great route onto Morton, and Morton forced the beads and the shell also coming out from their support. Jormungandr looking to ult into this fight as Kleedna solos the Gilgamesh, finally getting the kill into this solo matchup.
Is this Wiener Brigade? This feels like an entirely different team.
I mean, it does seem like a completely different team. You are 100% correct. I mean, I just think it's the draft and be 100% real. They're still fighting in mid. They're still fighting in mid.
Oh,
Laggy's
great
making
riptide.
multiple shots and is going to die by Rosie. Forced to ult out. Fields of Love does come out from Cupid. Heart Bomb confirms the kill.
What rotation.
Great rotation. And this is what I'm saying is if Cupid rotates out early, right? I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see that Brex came out and put the pressure that he's been putting into here.
Is this the same team? But early Pyromancer as well. One interesting note with the Sylvanas, he's going into an earring, which I presume is Fabulous Hoops. I presume. Must be, sure.
I mean, the only other option would be Sphinx's Bobble, and I believe Sphinx's Bobble is currently disabled on live client right now. So it should be realistically Fae Blessed Hoops. Fae Blessed Hoops being able to give you a shield when you heal, but
He could go Manticore Spikes actually, because if I'm correct, his 1, his 3, and his ult proc it.
yeah,
So that, and I don't think Manticore is that crazy of an item, but because I think you need quite a bit of hard CC in your kit to actually proc it, consistently. Sylvanas has the kit to proc it consistently, but it's most likely Fae Blessed Hoops.
yeah. I mean, percent damage or percent damage against a target or percent healing shield. Both are good options. As looks like the Wiener Brigade is starting to look at this Gold Fury. The pressure over in this dual lane just super high, allowing them this pressure here. They're looking to actually go in this engagement. Morton, Sylvanas, and Jormungandr are all here to contest. Flush Rush also coming around the backside as Sylvanas is really, really high up, looking for this good ultimate pressure. Jormungandr trying to steal it, but unfortunately doesn't get it. Big Joe is just barely taken out at the tail end, though, as it looks like Kinkais are looking to re-engage on this fight. Sylvanas dead to the execute, but does get the kill back on the Achilles. Albie a little bit stuck here by the slow, and unfortunately, not going to get away. Morton jumps away from him. Yamoja wall's huge, except Jormungandr's breath able to go through the walls and confirm that kill.
I think Wiener Brigade should have focused on confirming the Gold Fury, because I feel like once they saw Kinkais, they were considered, should we go for them? Should we drop the Gold Fury? I think they could have confirmed the Gold Fury a lot faster, because I think they just paid for it. I mean, they got the Gold Fury, but 3 of them died for it, which is quite a hefty trade-off.
For a basic Gold Fury, I mean, that's basically even value on both sides, unfortunately. In fact, I think the Kinkais might have actually come out a little ahead on that, being able to farm just after as well. I mean, Kinkais, though behind, are still showing how strong of a team they are in these fights.
Yeah, as well with the Gold Fury, I think I don't know if Ymoja's ult was up, but it's definitely a good time to do it because unfortunately she did it to try and save herself. Unfortunately, she couldn't. But hey, that's how it is. And of course, the one that's going into the Fabulous Soups, as we discussed earlier, and then Yemoja with the Lotus Crown, which, to be honest, I don't think is worth a build-up anymore.
It was a little bit rough as Lycosaurus does get the beads out of Rosie. Is still chasing Rosie down. Takes out like 45% of her HP. And Morgan is here to trade that back. But yeah, going back on it, Lotus Crown on just in general is just a strange item. It's a little bit weaker in the stat department. Unfortunately, not quite worth anything. And as much as people say she's a healer, Yemoja is mostly good for out of combat sustain. As just Kinkai is looking to be aggressive. Rosie's ulting in, but looks like Rosie and the team might be on separate pages on how that fight was supposed to go down.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't lose too much doing that. Of course, her ult was down, but it will come up quite soon. But that, yeah, with this Yemoja with the Lotus Crown, I feel like with Yemoja, the best thing is to build is cooldown, so then you spam your ability to get more heals off. Because, yeah, you know, the extra protections isn't. Oh, wait, hold on. Might see
Protections are
solo here.
great. Cupid, Blush was trying to take that engagement, but Cupid's going to just turn back and say, hey, I've got CC to my damage, buddy. You've just got the damage, and does force the Chernobog back as.
I mean, with how Brex has been playing, he's definitely given Plush Rush a run for his money, which is quite interesting to see.
I mean, we were talking about the Chernobog being like a huge staple pick for these Kinkais and P's and B's, and right now he has been pretty strong in these fights, but this Cupid's doing a good job of keeping him down.
Yeah, as well, because I think Plush Rush is second in the power rankings. I definitely think Brett's going to be climbing up, especially how he's been playing this game. He's definitely putting Plush Rush in his place with his Cupid. Oh, wait, hold on. Team fight going on.
Looks like that the
Oh,
Weiner Brigade trying to lock down this Sylvanas here. Gets a stun, gets plenty of lockdown. Unfortunately, the carry's not close enough to be able to do much. And they end up not being able to do too much. They doing a little bit of damage on the tower. Rosie getting low. Sylvanas is pretty low. But great poke from this Uller as the solo laner from the Kinkai's coming in, trying to lock down Lagisaurus. Does use the dropkick and uses the Winds of Shamash. Forces the ultimate out of this Achilles. This Cleena looking to chase him down. Unfortunately, Morton's also there, and Big Joe might die for this. Big Joe does die, not from Morton, but from the Fire Giant burn.
nice.
The end of it, confirming the kill for Morton. As they're going to continue chasing after this T2, T1 gone. That safety just not there. Morton confirms the kill onto Albius. He's 1 HP. Yu Huang almost killed him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that Wiener Brigade are pouring a lot of resources down the. They're just not getting the kill, which that is just giving King Kines a chance to go, okay, and then just turn around it on them. Because honestly, this Savannah just is not dying.
It's what, 17 and a half minutes in the game. He is the support. He shouldn't realistically die without like focus from the entire team. But we are going to look into going into these next fights, and hopefully the Wiener Brigade can learn that maybe don't lock down just the Sylvanas. And if you do, make sure your whole team's there.
Yeah, well, let's point out Morton's Ul has been playing very well this game, 4-0, and he's been picking up the kills, he's been hitting his axes, very well played by him.
Very well. I mean, great axes. I mean, great confirm. He is a ranged jungler here, so he's able to confirm a little bit better than Rosie can, as Rosie is a melee god by technicality. Looking for an engagement here. Morton trying to get Cheeto here, maybe, but maybe a little bit wiser there. But great Sylvanas pull onto Albie. Albie does get out by the riptide, but unfortunately, Morton is right there to stun her out, and Albie does go in, but Morton just chasing down the kill.
Wants it.
Not allowed to leave. Albie does eventually get picked up by the Morton and forces the Achilles ult as the entirety of the King Kais is trying to go in. Forces beats as well.
I mean, Morton really wanted that kill. And in fairness, he played it really well. Oh, it looks like King Kai's are going for Gold Fury.
I mean, Morton played that really, really well. The Weiner Brigade just unable to do anything as a solo kill, going in favor of the Gilgamesh this time over in that solo lane.
This game is definitely this is definitely an even match now. I mean, heavily in favor of King Kai's keep running the play the way they do. This is gonna be a very interesting late game.
Yeah, Rosie
Ooh,
gets soloed
last solo
by
kill?
Yu Huang instead. Lots of solo kills this game. I mean, what was it like? We got Brex soloing Plush Rush. You got both solo laners soloing each other, and now Rosie being soloed by Cheeto.
This is quite an interesting match. I'm really hoping Weiner Brigade will keep doing what they're doing here because they can definitely win their first match if they're playing like this.
100%. They are very much looking very comfortable on this aggressive style of play. Brex being able to put a lot of pressure in this dual lane. Lagosaurus, though he had a little bit of a rougher performance last game, and even this game, 3 levels down. He's having a lot more impact than I would think at 3 levels down.
I mean, looking at his build real quick, Shifter Shield? That's quite an interesting pickup. And then,
It's stunned by Uller, and might fall, but unfortunately
Good
for
ult by
the Kin
Alfie.
Kai's, great re-engage by the Weiner Brigade to peel out their jungler, but unfortunately they might start falling for this as Jormungandr is starting to ult in, chasing down all of them. But it looks like they might be a little bit safer. Looking at the Sylvanas for a pull here to maybe start this engagement back out, but unfortunately doesn't get anything.
yeah, I mean, they don't really have to be that scared. The Jormungandr ult was scary, especially full damage, but the issue of Jormungandr going the build that he is, being mostly full damage, is that once he finishes that ult, he is a lot easier to kill than he would be in a solo lane.
Yeah, I mean, lacking tank stats does, in fact, hurt Jormungandr a little bit, but, I mean, the way Rosie's been playing, she was up in their faces as Morrigan before, so, I mean, she is very comfortable in this, just play around the sidelines, stealth around, very, very comfortable in this playstyle, so hopefully
Yeah.
Weiner Brigade.
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
It's worth noting that last time Morton casted, he wanted Ginger Archer to go into. Nah, never mind. It seems that Morton wanted to go into the Bumbers wanted Ginger Archer to go into Bumbers Hammer into Jones Cunning purely for the cooldown. Looks like that's what he's doing himself here, and it's definitely working out for him.
I mean, that new Jotun's Cunning is a pretty strong item. I mean, every, 3 casts, you get a free engage. It looks like Kinkai's are looking to be engaged onto the Weiner Brigade. But unfortunately, Sylvanas, unaware of the rest of the team being near there, and gets just killed and taken out immediately. Weiner Brigade is not done here, looking to push this Trebuchet. Does get the T1 tower, forces the Jormungandr ult, tries to get some damage onto the enemy team here, but being forced to back away, completing an unwanting of that kill to get away. Proceeds to run in and take out Rosie.
Nice. I mean, still going on.
T2 dive as Uller does jump out. Dueling Dragons just off the mark, but unfortunately does get the burst part without the pull.
Weiner Brigade are really doing well in these team fights. When they're all together, they might even get a middle Phoenix here. And they probably will.
Yeah, I mean, great emotional to zone out the fight and separate them out, allowing this Cupid to just get free Phoenix poke. But unfortunately, the Gilgamesh ult was very, very good at zoning them. Keely's ult a little bit too soon, doesn't take in factor of the Chernobog dashing into the wall. And Chernobog will get out with his life. And they're still looking to push this Phoenix with Trebuchet. As long as they keep this up, though, I think that Treb could just take the Phoenix on its own.
Yeah, now minions are walking in, so they should be able to just take this quite easily, but we'll see how this goes.
As they're going into this fight, Lagosaurus goes into the Phoenix. He's going to pay with his life, but they do get the middle bird. Phantom Shell popped early by the Kinkais. As the Weiner Brigade is fine to just take that win and leave.
I mean, that's understandable, especially with Laga unfortunately dying in their presence. They got the Phoenix, they can just leave. They've got a huge lead here now that they're moving in. I think that's, yeah, the 2k gold up. They've got a middle Phoenix at 23 minutes. I think the next move, probably a Fire Giant.
Yes, I do agree with you. As King Kai is already looking to maybe get some vision onto this Fire Giant. As Rosie looking for Cheeto. Cheeto a little bit far up. Unfortunately, Jormungandr does not have the same burst as a Morrigan. And Cheeto's going to get out scot-free.
And they got the Pyromancer for it. And I mean, another issue with the Jormungandr is that his damage comes out a bit slowly, which gives you know Chio a decent amount of time to react. Because I think Yu Huangtu comes out a lot faster than Jormungandr too.
Yes, you would be correct there. The other note is Jormungandr, though he is a very, very high pressure pick, very good at running a lane, I don't think that his scaling is nearly to the same extent as say a Morrigan, just because of being a solo laner. Their base stats are higher than their scaling, because they are gonna get a free Gold Fury here, but Weiner Brigade looking around this Fire Giant, maybe looking to pick it up. They are picking it up. Only the Gilgamesh over there. Chernobog forced the back, but Chernobog ultimate is up to re-engage if the Kinkai so choose. And Morton looking to come in here. Rosie coming behind. Sylvanas behind them. And Weiner Brigade going to be a little bit smart. Drop the Fire Giant here as Albi does a Yamoja ult to keep the rest of the team from walking into this Weiner Brigade team.
I think that was a bit unnecessary, especially if King Kai's choose to, start another team fight where they're at now, or just start the Fire Giants. The Emoja ult is quite a table turn. Unfortunately, they've lost it.
And another thing to note is the Yu Huang also used his ultimate in that fight. Maybe being scared of the CC that would come through, but that Emoja ult just kept them from being able to do much to this Yu Huang, and so they wasted 2 ultimates in just a disengage.
King Kai's are definitely holding the territory right now. They're definitely the advantage because now if Weiner Brigade try, oh wait no, hold on, they seem to disperse. Another fight's going on now.
Yes. Looks like they've seen Rosie in mid and choose to take this engagement. Maybe locking down the Sylvanas. Fields of Love coming out. Does get the Sylvanas, but again, he's too tanky. Plush Rush almost dies to the team, but dashes out safely. And looks like the Weiner Brigade is going to start disengaging as the Kinkais are looking for a re-engagement. But both teams happy to just stand off and stare at each other for this FG standoff. Oh, as I say that, Big Joe gets an axe to the dome. And Sylvanas really, really low, but unfortunately, again, too tanky to really take too much damage from that heart bomb.
I mean, now with the now that Weiner Brigade have the territory advantage here now, because with Sylvanas being low and it's a 5v4 now. If Weiner Brigade decides to capitalize on this and push in, they are definitely the advantage, and it looks like they might be trying to do that. Oh.
Yeah, great Riptide out of Yamoja, but unfortunately the rest of the team is looking at Rosie. Rosie into the ult, blink out of the Achilles onto Plush Rush, but great axe from Morton to peel out his ADC. Lina in there, but she's taking a lot of damage here. Fortunately, Force loses her beats into this engagement. Plush Rush dashes in, does finish off the Klina as the rest of the Weiner Brigade is unable to go in, and now Phantom Shelter having been popped and the rest of the Weiner Brigade going in. Great Emoji waiting on that Phantom Shell to run out, but fortunately the other side's just a little bit there. Is Gilgamesh in the backline, almost dying to the backline of the Weiner Brigade, but manages to get out with a great Winds of Shamash for Peel.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think Klina died a little bit too hard. I think she could have got the kill, but with her team a bit behind her, she was just a bit too far out. And then, again, I think the emotional was a bit too late because it didn't. I think it was understandable. I don't think it was up for majority of that fight. But now King Kai's have the middle Phoenix back up, meaning it's going to start regenerating, so they don't have to worry about the mid lane being as exposed as it is anymore.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a wasted opportunity from the Weiner Brigade, though the fight really actually favored them in my mind. They're not able to get anything off of it, and kind of just goes back to a null field of 0. I mean, both sides, gold's not that big different. I mean, in fact, is in favor of the Kinkais. Guys looking to see if anyone's around, and seeing none of the Weiner Brigade. They're gonna opt to start this Fire Giant.
Do Weiner Brigade even know? Yeah, they should know. No, I don't think they do.
Looks like they're just on the Gilgamesh, unaware the Fire Giant's burning right before their eyes, and that's an easy confirm on the Fire Giant for the Kinkais here.
That's very unfortunate because so far these team fights Fire Giant is definitely going to swing the team fights in King Kai's favor's way, and with how King Kai's played last game, it is very possible for them to just take this game at this rate. Because if they get a good team fight, push up a bit, it definitely can go in the favor of King Kai's, but now they have to focus on taking the tier 2 towers and the Phoenixes. But with the comp of Weiner Brigade, especially with the Emoja, they definitely have a strong defense.
Yeah, we're gonna look at this defense. Fields of Love, Yomojolt, as you had said, is gonna be great on this defense. And the other thing we're gonna look for is Kinkai's maybe trying to be a little bit more aggressive here, trying to take this driver's seat away from the Weiner Brigade here, and maybe push down some of these towers. And Cupid off on left lane alone as the entirety of the Kinkais are starting to make their way over there. Cupid,
no.
you're in danger, my guy. You are
Run.
going to die. Turnabout ulting in to start off this fight is Rosie right there. Gilgamesh kick. Field of Loves does come out, but fortunately, Brex, there's 4 members of Kinkai's here, and they're going to take you down.
That is actually really unfortunate because now if King Kai is pushing forward, they've lost a Cupid. That is quite integral to how they've been playing team fights. And it's important to note as well as Gilgamesh, he has gone redstone, which gives him a lot of leeway when it comes to fighting AD carries. It's also important to know that Laga and Big Joe are in the right lane, looking to make their way back into the left Phoenix there.
Looking at this again, this is seeming to mirrors kind of what happened last game. Both the solo laner and jungle for the side of the Weiner Brigade not there, but great Yomoja ult, as you have said. And Phantom Shell is forced out. Lots of damage being turned around. Rosie forced into the ultimate. Looking to get a little bit more damage there. But unfortunately, even 4v5, they pushed back a lot of damage onto this Kinkai's team. And they're going to be forced back and having to figure out a different plan than sieging this Phoenix.
I mean, that Yomoja ult saved the Phoenix alone because that forced Kinkai's to back away and gave Weiner Brigade enough time to actually group up. And the ult was just great. There's not really that much to say about it. That completely just saved the Phoenix and was amazing defense by Alba.
I do agree that Yomoja ult, being able to lock them all down with no escape. And they're going to look to take out these towers. They got 4 members strong here. Gilgamesh coming around the other side, but looks like they just want to sweep the towers here.
I mean, it's understandable. As towers fall, the protections of the Phoenixes do lower, makes it easier to take. So, and with there only being 1 tier 2, and the fact that Weiner Brigade can't really go on the offensive right now, it's quite a free technique for them.
Yeah, I do agree. Gilgamesh in the mid lane, trying to catch out this Yu Huang, force him away from this fight, and Kinkai's choosing to back off. Gilgamesh does use his Winds of Shamash though to try and confirm the kill on Yu Huang, so that ultimate might not be up next fight, but he does force the Dueling Dragons, so for ult.
Yeah, and then of course they're going to go for the Pyromancer, because honestly, sieging a Phoenix against the Weiner Brigade's comp, that is going to be an extremely difficult challenge. And I think now, with what they should do now, I think they should try and play farm up a bit, you know, stay a bit into the middle of the map, and wait for EFG, because if they get EFG, sieging will be significantly easier.
Yeah, I mean, EFG being able to shred all those protections, ignore all those protections on the Phoenixes, will be very, very strong for this Kinkai's team, as they've been having the upper hand in every single one of these fights so far. But looks like a Primal Fury is on the table as Fire Giant is fading away for this Kinkai's team. Maybe just a couple seconds left.
It's also worth noting as well with how Lagasaurus has been playing this game. He's not been as... He had pressure, and of course he kind of lost it again in this game. But with Achilles, he's doing a lot more than he could on an early. He's been tanking, he's been down in the backline, getting some executes. I don't really agree with the Shifter Shield, but he's been playing a lot better than he has in game 1, and it's quite commendable.
Yeah, Lagasaurus is definitely showing a stronger performance. Is Cheeto trying to confirm this? You're 1v2, my guy. But Kinkai's trying to play the smart, trying not to accidentally run into the entirety of the Weiner Brigade 2v5.
Yeah, I mean, Weiner Brigade, in a 5v5 situation, in Kinkai's versus Weiner Brigade, I think Weiner Brigade have been playing this a lot better in team fights. The Emotion ults, the Cupid ults, the draft entirely is really team fight focused and they're doing well. When they're being cut off though, they're a bit weaker, so I'm hoping now with the FG going to be up soon, that Weiner Brigade group up and they try and pick off the Kinkai's in a 5v5. Because if they do that, they can definitely see their first victory.
As both teams kind of just dancing around. Rosie Invis just waiting for someone to step up. Take this Greater Scorpion as they wait. I'll be taking a decent bit of poke, but I mean, it is the Yomoja. He's just going to sustain back up. So, I mean, both teams are staring at each other. A lot of the poke is coming from this Uller, just making sure that the Weiner Brigade is just not comfortable, even behind all the walls that they all have. And it's like Gilgamesh is going to start this engagement onto the Cleedna. does get a lot of damage onto her, misses the dropkick by just a small margin. Albie
Good
does get pulled into her own ultimate, but looks like 3 members onto this Gilgamesh, forces the winds of Shamash, does get the execute onto him, and Weiner Brigade looking like they're on top in this fight. Turnabog does ult in Rosie. With Rosie, unfortunately, Brex does fall. The Heart Bomb being his last bit of damage he can do. Lagosaurus, unfortunately, not able to do much as well and falls to Plush Rush, leaving 3 versus 4 in favor of the Kinkais as they're going to look to run down the Weiner Brigade here.
So what I've noticed now, with actually looking into Albie's Umoja, is that he's not. I don't think he's been leveling his two
Great
very
blink
much.
out of Kleedna. Great blink out of Kleedna, but she does die for it. But that's Plush Rush off the field. That's their ADC. They can't siege this. They can't take a Fire Giant. They can't siege the Phoenix. They're going to count on this Uller to have to clear an entire Phoenix. But I mean, looks like Yamoja's going to get Rosie as well. Fortunately, he might just die to the Uller here if Uller can hit his abilities. But fortunately, the autos might just be enough. Orton, very close to dead, but great defense out of just the Yu Huang.
So, with these team fights, what I'm taking away with this, I've only just realized that Albie's not really using his 2 that much, and when he is using it, it's not that big of a shield. I don't think he's been leveling his 2 so far. I think his max is 1. Maybe his 3 is afterwards. That seems to with Umoja.
See, I would agree with you if
it
wasn't for the fact that Yamoja is Yamoja has been nerfed so many times that the shield it looks like a pencil tip. So it's a very, very small shield compared to what it used to be. So I understand, but
that's on me. But the issue is that I've seen Weiner Brigade taking a lot of poke and they aren't hitting too much afterwards. But I mean, what can you do when you have Kinsars running up to you? And then with I mean, it was a very, very scuffed fight. Both teams took a lot of casualties, and very well played by official Cheeto for defending the Phoenix. Because if he died there, Ulla possibly could have taken the Phoenix with wave up, but hopefully we'll see now with this Fire Giant contestation.
Yes, Weiner Brigade looking to be more aggressive. I mean, the only person that's behind is the support here, and we're looking to get that Sylvanas. Doesn't manage to get the kill, so fortunately not able to do much as both teams are just staring at each other once again. And I do agree that the Weiner Brigade has been doing very, very well. I also want to say an unsung hero for that last defense was Big Joe. Blinks in to kill the Chernobog so that their entire just Fire Giant take, their entire Phoenix take is ruined with just the Uller being able to do anything. I just don't. Just big blink kill out of the Kleedna there. As Kinkais are just going to take a Pyromancer as they're just staring at each other. Big Joe.
Brigade. Oh, sorry.
Big Joe is looking to just clear out this Trebuchet.
Yeah, Weiner Brigade falling back into the jungle a bit, get some healings up, and then again, hopefully they manage to. Oh.
No, as engagement's looking to pop out. Great route out of the Yu Huang here. Great Yamoja forces the Jormungand to roll the Phantom Shell just a little bit later. Fields of Love does miss the mark though. Doesn't catch anyone in it. And Kinkai's looking to maybe put a little bit more damage back, but great engagement. Unfortunately doesn't get anything. And in fact, the Kinkai's win out in that trade in my mind.
Yeah, the emotional was actually really good, but I don't really understand the Cupid ult. Like, yeah, you're almost there, but it was, in your way, but no one else was in that area.
Yeah, there's another engagement from the Weiner Brigade. Albie taken very, very low, and so great Sylvanas ult knocks up 3. And going in here, there's Kleedna's doing a lot of damage onto this backline, but unfortunately, the backline of the Weiner Brigade falls to the dive of the Kinkais here, and fortunately, that's 3 down for the Weiner Brigade, and 4, in fact.
This could be
This might look like an end game. Lagosaurus, great blink out of Lagosaurus, but fortunately, you're 1v5, my guy. You are not going to be doing much into this defense. Ult's out very, very questionably, but maybe seeing a CC that I'm not seeing. And it's going to be up to Lagosaurus to defend 1v5 against the Kinkais.
With 40 seconds up on his teammates as well, this could be a 2-0 for Kinkais.
Yes, Kinkais looking to mostly focus this Phoenix. Getting some pressure on the Lagosaurus so he can't do much into these fights. There is a Trebuchet, or was a Trebuchet, pelting this Titan. And unfortunately, Lagosaurus, despite his best efforts, isn't able to stop the Kinkais from taking this Titan.
That is really unfortunate, especially of how well Weiner Brigade played as a team. But unfortunately, they couldn't close it off in late game team fights. And Kinkais being Kinkais, played their team well and took the victory.
Yeah, I mean, There's I think there's some stuff to take from this. King Kai's very very strong team, as far as I'm aware, and the Wiener Brigade a little bit on the weaker side. But I feel like going forward that the Wiener Dogs can end up being a underdog into these future fights. Game one was a little bit rougher, but game two, they had definitely had a strong presence in my mind. So look forward to see what the Wiener Brigade can do. Unfortunately, they do lose 2-0 to the King Kai's today, but it
I
was a great
mean,
showing.
King Kai's a very capable team, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think if Wiener Brigade keep up what they're doing, get some scrims in, play this set next week, they can definitely be a dark horse in the tournament. They can definitely like surprise people. Hopefully we should get an interview soon with one of the presume King Kai's members. We'll see how that goes. As production's on that right now. But who would you give to MVP this game, Jokum?
In my mind, MVP game one goes MVP. MVP this game, I think is going to go to Morton here. Morton being able to just put out so much poke damage and so much CC that Jotun's cutting coming very much handy every single time. Um, he was just doing so much damage. Not as good a setup for as the Neja in the first game, but definitely a stronger showing on this Uller than Rosie's Jormungandr.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I was tempted to try and nudge you into giving him for his Naja, but amazingly played. I do think some members of Wiener Brigade definitely are capable of, possibly running him for MVP for game two because they played pretty well for the most part. But I mean, yeah, more an 8-1, Hulla Jungle, poke damage, landing his axes. Much as I was mind.
We're gonna as we're and I do agree with you, Wiener Brigade. I think I definitely would say if you're gonna say MVP of their team, I think Brex is definitely the person to say there.
Mm.
Uh, Brex had so much pressure in the early game and translated it really, really in the mid game. Unfortunately, last fight, his pressure kind of just disappeared, and he unfortunately fell without doing much. But the rest of the game, very, very strong contender for them and keeping them in the game. As
100%.
I think we're gonna take a quick break here while we get the interviewee here. But yeah, we'll see you guys in just a second for this interview.
Who are we interviewing?
Hola, hola. Bonjour.
Okay,
So,
we're interviewing one.
Ugh.
uh, so, uh, Morton, right? The games, we were a little bit scared going into game one, seeing the Neja,
Yeah.
because Neja is a little bit not the strongest, great setup, but a little bit stronger. But you did a really, really good performance, and then later on the Uller as well. Going into those P's and B's, for I want to say game two. What were you guys like? What was the thought plan like? Because I know Jormungandr mid isn't the most textbook of things, and neither is Uller jungle. But what was kind of like the thought plan going into that one?
Well, I'm gonna I die on the hill that Najar's cracked, yeah, and I won't have anyone say anything different. Game
No.
two though, yeah, it's probably not, but I'll still die on that hill. Game two though, it's just saying that we've been practicing in scram for heavy poke comps with some sustain, playing stuff that's got good range poke, Cleos, Ullers, Jormungandrs, stuff like that. So it was really get to the late game, linger around Fire Giant. The longer that we linger there, the more an advantage we have. It's something we've been practicing for a while.
Another question here. So, obviously, Wiener Brigade, you managed to comfortably take it game one. How are you feeling with how Wiener Brigade were playing in game two? Because they had you on the ropes, though.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was just is what it is, isn't it? They had a good early game. Um, Caught us by surprise a couple of times. Wiener Brigades are like the sneakiest team in the league. Like you'll just be backing to get your tier two Jotuns, and then all of a sudden a Gold Fury's been done. Like sneaky team. But it's alright. Like we've been down before. We've been down in scrims. We only really need to get to the late game. As long as we're not like silly down, we're okay.
No, I mean, at no point were you ever silly down. Sorry about
Probably
Uh,
was.
And
Just gonna
then
throw that out
Go.
there.
I've got one more question for Kin Kais before we go over to the Inner Brigade here. How many times do you think you're gonna get Morrigan again after these sets? I remember watching the Babylonian games and now this set. How many times do you think Rosie's gonna get away with this going forward?
Too many times.
Yeah, hopefully many more to come.
Yeah.
I thought they would ban it this game, honestly. Rosie's been like insane on Morrigan, honestly. So I'm surprised it went through. Well, you might as well answer that question, Joe. Do you not want to ban that? It's my
We
brother, by the
wanted to
way,
ban that,
little Joe.
but I don't know, man. We wanted to ban it, but you got the Mercury, got the Chernobog that you need to ban. Can't let Plush have Chernobog.
You prioritized Cali as the top 3 bans both games.
Yeah, I didn't want the Kali ban. IMO wanted the Morrigan ban. That's all I've seen Rosie play. Well, not all, but when she pops off, it's on Morrigan, and she does pop off on Morrigan. So
Fair enough that she does. And thank you guys, thank you King Kais for stopping by and for this interview. Thank you for that one. Moving to Wiener Brigade. Going to this one, if I recall correctly, you haven't won a set yet, but with the with
Yeah.
this
Start
performance,
off strong.
with this performance, how are you guys going into this rest of the season? Because I know just based off that performance, I think you guys are going to have a better run. But I mean, just going into it, how are you guys feeling about going forward?
I think we feel pretty good, don't we, LB? We're getting better and better and better, much better.
It's still rough. Just our team fighting our late game. It's something I definitely just need to work on. You just have to sit down one day and just like, how do we tackle this? And our target calling isn't 100% yet, but we're getting there slowly. Our shot calling is, I think, is good. That's
And
Yeah, it's just I think it's our fights around objectives that really lets us down.
yeah.
and I have a question for Albie. So
Oh.
obviously, you're a support main. I'm a support main. We can agree on that.
Mhm.
We're the best players. So Umoja is quite a difficult guy to play. How long has that been in the in your pocket?
Just whip it out sometimes. It was just so hard to use this game. I got some good ults, but the damage just usually wasn't there.
I mean, you're also
Yeah.
pretty good there. I mean, you managed to single-handedly defend a Phoenix yourself. So, do you reckon we'll see the Umoja again?
I might play it again, but I won't have it be like, because I did that for Capri once in a while, and now I get bans every game. It doesn't feel very fun.
That's
So yeah.
facts. That is facts. Don't let
Yeah.
LB have Kipri.
No, I mean, his Umoja's definitely showing, and I hope to see it again in the tournament, especially.
Yeah, I'll give it some more practice. See how it goes.
I think the
And-
games were good though. There
Also,
was
the
a
new
couple-
items bring so much more into Umoja as well with the 60% CDR. I haven't tested how it feels with the Omi regen yet. I should test that pretty soon.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, now I just think about it, I'm gonna help on target practice and see how that feels.
It's currently disabled, isn't it?
yeah, it is
Yeah.
currently disabled.
Also, speaking
Oh
of
yeah, I forgot.
speaking of something you're not allowed to do, what did the Lancelot ban game one?
What's the what?
The Lancelot game ban. You
We
banned
thought
it.
we thought it was available.
Yeah.
Somebody said it's still available, and then we checked game 2. It's like, oh no, it isn't.
Yeah, because in the picks and bans, we saw it banned, and we were like, is this like a troll? Are they throw banning? It's like, I don't know why they're banning this guy. He's not allowed in anyway.
We had a mutual agreement to not play Ravana. So
Yeah.
Oh, really? Both
Yeah.
teams agreed on that.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I just fuck that god, dude.
Oh, because I'm obviously the captain of Weiners and Morton's the captain of Kins, and we're brothers, so we had a mutual agreement.
All
So we
good.
could
All
get another ban. But it was rough that game.
Completely forgot about that.
I was
In
in
game
there.
1, yeah. We just didn't prioritize farm, and then the only thing that I called the sneaky Gold Fury. We managed to sneak that away, and that's all it was.
Mm.
Never got the lead back.
Game 2, I really wanted the Achilles, but Is
Yeah,
what
there
it
was
is.
also some confusion over who gets the
Yeah.
Achilles there.
Wait, so the Achilles was picked, and then of course the
It
cleaner
was
came
picked
in.
to flex,
Okay.
and then
To prioritize it for the solo.
yeah, and then it was swapped around, but then we went to swap around last second again.
And
Which
it was,
didn't happen.
It was kind of annoying because you get to the team fights, there'd be a call to go in, so I'd go in,
And you just get
turn
shredded.
around, and I was just on my own, like, hello.
I mean, Lager
Well-
did pretty well on the Achilles, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. He's
And-
playing good.
Yeah, and your cleaner definitely did show itself in lane, especially when you got a cheeky solo kill there, and you were outputting a lot of damage during team fights.
I think I had a 3-level lead on Alfie at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Solo
then it
killed a
comes
lot
to
of the
the late.
solo laners now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is it
But it
Spark, I
comes to
think,
the
in your
late
last
game.
set?
And, yeah, Spark. Yeah.
And
Yeah. As I say, we're getting better and better. It's just a shame that season's coming to an end.
King Kais are also getting better and better, which is kind of unfortunate.
Just watch this space. Weiner Beaners are going to be the champs of the end of
Yeah,
season.
we're gonna do a dark horse run, baby. You better watch out.
Oh yeah.
We're just
All that
letting you
matters
all
is
think
the
that we suck.
tournament.
Yeah, we're just playing blind. I'm playing with one hand that game. Sorry.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. You heard it
It's
here
fine.
first.
We'll agree to
You
split
sir have
it
a
if we
deal.
throw.
You got
Ben, if
yourself a deal.
On
Brendan
one
gives
last,
us $1,000, I'll give you 100 quid to throw.
alright,
Yeah.
I have one last question before we'll chill. But so obviously the tournament's coming up. For both teams, which teams in the league in low division are you most afraid of? Which teams do you think? Which ones do you have your eye on, realistically?
The only two teams I'd say that we would worry about the most is Kins and Spaced Out.
Really, not but just built different.
Nah,
Oh, I think they're quite terrifying.
they don't intimidate me as much as the other two. They really
Yeah,
don't.
I think for
They-
us it's spaced out as well.
Don't get me wrong, they're a good team, but I still think Kins and Spaced
Yeah,
Out are head and
if
shoulders
we're
above.
against GBD, they're still the favorite, but I think we get stomped harder by King Kais just how it plays out.
Just ban
Wow.
Poseidon off Nathan. That's all you got to do, and then you beat
Ban
them.
the Baba. Ban the Baba.
No,
Well, I
like,
mean-
I
I'll
say
tell
at the
you,
start of the season, if Kins didn't have the issues that they had with like players and stuff like that, then I don't think Just Built Different would be top. That's my opinion.
Oh, I mean, you're entitled to opinion. I think you might be right, but with
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it, but
nah, you won't.
Getting
I'm
some
sure you won't.
DMs right now. I hear some Discord
Yeah.
things.
Honestly, don't worry about it. But honestly, both teams played really well. Like King Kais, you managed to close it out 2-0. Obviously, well done to you guys. And Weiner Brigade, you put up one hell of a fight. So I really hope to see you guys improve into the next sets and hopefully become the dark horse that you're meant to be in the tournament.
yeah, we're getting there,
Hopefully.
mate. We're getting there. A few more scrims, a few more games. We're getting.
Just get them in there.
and then
Who's last sprinters? I don't know. I don't remember.
This feels back right there.
Do you remind me?
It actually goes in descending order, so Weiner Brigade are actually at the top at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Let's
it's
go.
It's like golf, isn't it? The lowest.
like golf,
lowest
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, boys, we're the best at losing. They can't take it away from us.
To be fair, nobody's had roster issues like Weiner Brigades, though. I think you guys, mate, you're the shit. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, mate, this whole season, like up until today's game, just didn't count for you guys because the team that you are now compared to what you was like 3 or 4 weeks ago is just night and day. Night and day. It's not even the same.
And next season, we are not going to be called the Weiner Brigade anymore. We're going to be called Hakaya.
It was
can't-
Lager who named you that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yep, knew it.
Oh
Because
boy.
that was
bloody child.
he always pushes for that team.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Alright,
You wait till you see our next one.
Alright.
very, very strong performance from the Wiener Dogs today. And I'm looking forward to.
How dare you?
I said Wiener Dogs.
How dare you?
Wiener Brigade. The Wiener Brigade. be very, very strong performance of the Weiner Brigade against the King Kais, who are third place. So looking forward to how you guys deal with these other teams going forward. And I think everyone else at home can also look forward to seeing these Weiner Brigade in this next tournament. Just being able that dark horse, as was stated earlier, and look forward to seeing what you guys can do in the future. But on that note, we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. King Kais do win 2-0.